October 13th. It is chilly. It's chilly. Today's Wednesday. I want to talk about the niyamas. We have cleanliness, purification. Cleanliness can refer to mind, body, and a variety of other things. Contentment, not investing. Contentment it can be tricky. It's not about not improving yourself or seeking self-improvement or seeking better circumstances. It's more akin to not investing your happiness in something that doesn't exist. Or rather, investing your happiness in something that you don't yet have. I'll be happy when I get the new job. Now it's true, a new job, well, let's change the job idea. Well, it's true, new circumstances can help promote cleanliness, allowing you to have a stronger practice in some ways. But it's important to see these things as external of absolute happiness. Self-discipline, tapas, doing the things that you say you want to do, doing the things that you know that you want to do or must do, obligations, that kind of stuff. Self-reflection, am I being clean of thought or am I being clean of habit? Am I content? Am I, if you don't have self-reflection, how can you tell if you're practicing the niyamas? And then you have surrender, which is much more complicated than the others. And then again, maybe it's not. Another way to think of surrender is this too will pass. Right? Wherever we are, everything is transition all the time, forever. So whether it's a moment of great sadness or a moment of joy, this too will pass. So far, I have talked about the niyamas as if they always apply to some bigger idea. But they also apply to much smaller ideas. Whether it's making plans to meet friends at a cafe, or whether it's Warrior One. You can use, you can consider the niyamas as a set of metrics by which to evaluate any given moment of your life at any given time. Say you're in a posture. This posture is terribly difficult and it's uncomfortable. And we're just going to, because there's a million ways to look at this, we're going to look at this one way. It'd be groovy to see in the comments other applications of niyamas on my Wednesday posts. That'd be sweet. It'd be totally awesome. Let's say you're in warrior, it doesn't matter. Let's say you're in a posture that's incredibly difficult and it's uncomfortable and it's even almost painful. Borderline painful. It's not just difficult, it's not uncomfortable simply because it's new and difficult, but it's uncomfortable because it hurts. And we can consider for a moment, why am I doing this posture? And like I said, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. We're going to look at this one way. Because the important thing is to not analyze this posture. The important thing is to consider this one aspect through the lens of the niyamas. So let's say you think you have to do this posture. The yoga instructor just called this posture, and you have to do it because they're the teacher and they said to do it, and they have reasons that they say that it's good. That is not quite practicing purity and cleanliness. The purity of thought in this particular instance is that it hurts and is uncomfortable and you don't like it. and you don't know why it's being done. So to practice santosha, or rather shucha, or purity and cleanliness, you need the self-reflection to be able to pay attention to what is happening in your mind. You need to practice discipline to always question others' motives in that particular instance. Don't just accept what they're saying. Have the discipline to analyze your own situation. Have the contentment to either do the posture or not. But don't do the posture and bitch and complain, and don't not do the posture and bitch and complain. The surrender, the devotion even, the surrender could be either surrendering to the posture or surrendering to the idea that it is not for you. Maybe full cow face is just never a posture for you. Maybe half moon is not a posture for you. Maybe it's just not a posture for you right now. It can become a wonderful way to look at aspects of day-to-day existence through the lens of niyamas. They don't describe, okay, this is tricky. While they do describe an ultimate goal, they don't describe an ultimate goal. What do I mean by that? This sounds like moon juice. The idea of the niyamas is to provide a framework for analysis, reflection, understanding, growth. I've said 100 times, if I've said it once, we're on a continuous journey of growth. We absolutely are. And it's up to us to figure out how to guide ourselves on that journey. I had an instructor, Walter Ambrose. He would say, what was it exactly? This is great. I bring him up to quote him and then I lose the quote. A journey of guided self-discovery. Every time I'd walk into the class on a Saturday, he would say, "All right, sir, what do you got for me?" Because he wanted to provide well, let me say this a different way. Because he provided a space for me to explore martial arts for myself. And if he had guidance, not answers, but guidance, context, examples, experience to lend to my circumstance, then he would do that. And if he didn't, he'd say, "I don't know, let's find out." And yoga, it can be very much like that, and life can be very much like that. When I started teaching community classes, I found it very confusing and disrupting when other students did whatever they wanted. Now, we usually start classes with, this is your practice and you do what you need for your body on your mat. And then when people start doing what they want, it can throw a new instructor off. Is my timing okay? Is my count too long? Is the posture okay? Is it too difficult? Is it too easy? My back is sore today. And right now, I am trying to ignore it to do this vlog. That's foolish. So anyway, when I started teaching class and people started doing things on the mat for themselves, it would throw me off because it would be disconcerting and it would bother me in some ways. And I've heard about other teachers who will say, this is what we do in class. They don't encourage people to do what they want. I have another student, a frequent student, and she's got some, they've got some joint issues, some trouble with some of their joints. And for a long time, teaching her yoga in private lessons was stressful to us both for different reasons. She seemed as though she was trying really hard, and it also seemed as though she was always doing things wrong. And she got to the point where she didn't like practicing yoga, and I knew it was my fault. Because I was trying to teach yoga from a mode of unawareness. And so I stopped for a couple of weeks. We paused our classes, and then when we met again, I said, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we explore movement and postures for you that feel good, instead of look correct. So even though I was teaching functional yoga, I was teaching it almost as if it was alignment-based yoga. It's possible for that to sneak in, even for a seasoned teacher. And so occasionally I see her in class, and when I do, she does a completely different flow than what I'm cueing. And I know that she feels great when she does it. This had a point somewhere. Oh, guided self-discovery. So now I'm in a place, let me tell this story from a different point of view. I had thought that teaching yoga was essentially me extending my mat space and sharing my experiences and making my experiences and my passion accessible to all of the people in the class. And that's certainly one definition, and it's perfectly accurate. There's another definition, and there's probably 100 more past these, where I strive to create a space where people find their own yoga. Teach in a way that lets people find their own movements, their own space, their own joy. In addition to my enthusiasm and passion and experience, because you still don't want to allow injuries. Like, this feels great. Yeah, it's going to feel terrible in 2 weeks. What does this have to do with the niyamas? Making someone do yoga postures that you think are correct, that they find uncomfortable, is not a pure thought. Contentment to host a space where people feel accessible enough to both what you're providing and what they're exploring on their own, so as to engage in that. The discipline to leave things alone if they don't need to be bothered. The discipline to know where my practice stops and someone else's begins. The surrender to that feeling. It's good. It's really good. It's great. I suppose you could say that there's a general evolution of students where you have a student who's never done yoga in their lives, and they start doing yoga, and you have to give them a whole bunch of things to think about so that they don't do things like hurt their ankles, or hurt their knees, or hurt their back, or hurt their neck. You don't want them to hurt their wrists. But eventually, you hope that they start taking off on their own journey of exploration, and their flow and their movement and their daily practice becomes their own. And that's really great. It's exciting. Anyway, this meandered a little bit, but the point is, the niyamas can be applied all the time to anything. You can even apply them to applying them. Any set of metrics that can be used to measure said metrics are a pretty good place to start, I think. So I've yammered on forever. My battery's gonna die any moment. I'm gonna do some sun salutations. Stay on, go chew the toy. You had a chew toy. You do not need to stand on this right now. You do not. You do not. You do not. She is so muddy. She's so incredibly muddy. And you know what? I don't know if I'm in the frame because my software is acting up as usual. So we're gonna try this. You're on the mat. Of course you're on the mat. We're gonna try this. We're gonna see how it works. Yes, you're a nut. Thank you for joining me on my practice this morning. Namaste.